Yes, peace and love.
Greetings, guidance to all, and to all, liberty, life.
Liberty and life. Yeah, just vibing in the car right now. We're in the north side of the Bronx,
Yeah.
233rd area.
Mm.
Ross Ether Kamal, also known as Nagus Kamala 2, and my man here.
Troy Gidaham.
Ah, yes, I.
Yes, sir.
The left Kushite.
Mm.
Because remember, even though they say Ham and Cam is the same thing, you know?
Right.
Ham is the father of Kush in that book they call the Bible. So, and Ham is really Cam, which is Kemet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
So
Get to
them
the
life with us mass, we think like in a them look all culture what them say them create and all of this
yeah, their,
thing.
their culture, if they
Yeah.
even have
Yeah.
a culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we returning to our culture, and our
Mm-hmm.
culture is Kush,
Right.
dealing with Kush. Doesn't matter if you burn it,
Yeah.
I mean,
Whatever.
as a herb, or maybe you want to deal with Kush as an Ethiopia. It's time to return to our culture, and once we return to our culture, we'll have knowledge itself, and once you have knowledge itself, you're going to want to not only have a black business, but also partake in buying black and doing black things like your culture,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like this, it's not one of the best shirts. The computer kind of messed it up a little
Mm-hmm.
bit,
How,
but I still
how
made a
can I
shirt.
sign that?
It's the Heru. That's
Oh,
why one
okay.
side is different, distinguished colors. Though it
Right.
usually comes out like that. But
It's
anyway, this my point of bringing this up is this is garments made by I
right.
Kush I Culture,
It's
Kush I Clothing. So
self promotion, self
that's right.
dedication. You got to create and you have to, really help out each other because we all feed one another if you don't realize. Because it takes one, to help one. So the ones them can continue.
That's right.
Take it as though you fucking like it. That's just how it is.
That's right.
You know?
Take it how you want it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it. But
because we have full work for self and find our ways to pull the plug from the system. But a lot of us do work many jobs and do what we can to put food on the table because a lot of us have children and families. Some people are taking care of their parents and
so
the
much,
generation
so
below
much.
and themselves.
Yeah.
So the best way
And
to solve our problems is to know
self
ourselves.
and
And when you know yourself, you know your culture, you return to yourself, your natural self, and you don't deal with any false teachings,
right.
false ways of eating, and whatnot. So that's what Kush I Culture is bringing.
That doesn't
Um,
mean you should be lazy.
oh, of
Okay?
course not.
Yeah.
No,
It
definitely not.
doesn't mean you should just sit down and just say, oh, okay, I'm gonna receive this and that's it. You still gotta go out there. It's supposed to inspire the ones, inspire an idea for a reaction. So
Yes, sir.
we need that reaction. And
Definitely.
that's it. Action, reaction.
Oh,
We
yes.
have to get up. We have to do something about it. It's like, come on now.
And
You're gonna live under the heel for how long now? Like, ugh. It's not. We're not coming to beg. It's not about that. We just came. It's time, and the time is what, and the time is gonna be. Is up to you. You want to call it
look,
whatever.
but to
Get to the yeah.
get to the what I was saying, the
Yeah.
whole point of the video
Yes.
is really let's talk about Kush, returning to our culture.
Yes.
Sometimes we have to know what the opposition that always fights us.
Right.
And some of the things that fights us is really starts with ourselves.
Indeed.
What that's why it's important to know thyself. When you know yourself, you're gonna do your culture. But
True.
we can't know ourselves if we know what is holding us back. So it's ourselves that's doing it, but it's also other races are taking advantage of us in different communities. The Chinaman, he has Chinese food. Is he entitled to have his own business? Yes. Do we have black businesses in their communities?
Yeah.
No,
True.
we don't.
That's all.
So since we don't have businesses in their communities, how is it easy for them to make an easy opportunity to make money? They don't even eat the Chinese food. And
Right.
then you have
They're selling a product that they
exact
don't consume themselves. And
exactly.
you really have to pay attention to this. This is like really, this is killing us. Over
Hmm.
the years, check the addiction. It's not just drugs. It's food. It's the water. All this contaminated things that's in our presence. It's the environment, no doubt. And we can probably blame everything that has to do with this, whether it's the government, the races, and our own people. But it's attributed to what you just said. It's off to do with us.
Yes,
We're
that
not making the
it's
effort.
us.
We're talking about it, but we're not making the effort. And I think our people know this. They fucking know this. And that's why you will see some of them come up, you're just saying this and saying that. No, we're not fucking saying this and saying. It's about action. You know, you get up, you create your own business, you help who you can, and you help keep your people. You help
Mhm.
your people, and that's how you keep it going. You have to have a strong foundation. You have to have, say in the home, you have to know, say everything is lawful, everything is cheerful. It's the grace, the guidance of life.
That's right. We have to focus on everything that is putting us down. It's us, and it's also the enemy. And when I say enemy, it hurts people's first eye or consciousness when they hear that. That, oh my gosh, does that mean it's Indians? Is it a Chinaman,
We don't have any
Japanese man,
friends. We don't have any
Chinaman,
friends.
or the Japanese man, or is it the Caucasian man? No, it's really us for allowing the bully to always come and take over. That's what an enemy is. Somebody that is stepping on you. And if you're not going to do anything about it, that means you're an idiot. So I was
Yes.
briefly mentioning China's communities. Then we have the Italian community in our making business in our communities.
They've been profited off of us.
Are they entitled to do this? Yes. Not only a constitution, but that's all how it is in America. Everybody's entitled to live where they want as long as you have the money. They have money to buy off property and not only own it, but to have a business on it.
And the so-called
And then
Jews,
and then the
Caucasian
second
Jews.
and the third and the fourth floor of that building or house or whatever it is or establishment, they don't just have people living on the top, but they have a storefront on the bottom. So it brings in extra money. Even crazy if they're good with stocks and bonds. Now they're making even more money, have their money flipping on top. And on top of that, they're flipping and buying houses. They don't have to live in those houses, but they could just flip and buy it. It's called wealth. This is how they make money.
Off of us.
Exactly. All we do is we work and we buy. Work and buy. Just consumers.
That's all. Working
So
five
we
jobs,
exactly.
three jobs, and you still broke. Yeah.
So we have to look at all the things that's hurting our people and before we get to our culture. And very key important part is the leaders of our people. You have Kidamawi Ali Selassie, King of
Great
Kings
one.
of Ethiopia,
A great leader right
conquering
here.
lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of God, light of the world, shadow of the Almighty.
Yes.
You have Marcus Messiah Garvey.
Yeah,
You have
man.
Malcolm X,
Yeah, great.
El Haj
Another
Malik
great leader.
Elbaz. You have Patrice Lumumba, Nelson Mandela, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.,
Don't forget that
um,
Turner.
Nat Turner.
Yeah,
That's
man.
7.
Yeah.
We get to 3 more. We'll see. Emperor Menelik II. Did I say that one already?
Yeah, Menelik. Yeah,
I said Menelik already.
Did you?
I don't know.
I didn't really hear that one. But yes, give praises
Well,
to
we definitely have
Menelik.
to be. He could be on the list
Yeah.
twice if needed.
Right.
I think that's it.
No.
Oh no, Nandi,
Yeah.
Queen Nandi, and then there's Yacentua. I have to
Right.
seal it up with the empresses,
Yeah,
queens,
the
queens.
queens, yeah, man. You don't know she stopped
So
today.
so check
Yeah.
this now. Why did I say all those names? I said those names in relation to what we were saying about um, what's keeping us down.
Yes.
So when we have leaders, brothers and sisters throughout the diaspora that are in positions of putting us up, oh, we can take it to 11 with Tucson, But we have leaders in different groups, and in each group, doesn't matter if you're Christian, Muslim,
Yes.
Rastafari, I don't care what it is, your leader is going to be persecuted,
Right.
especially if you're carbon melanated or black. And us black people, we're always being put down. Why? Because the enemy is showing us in a bad light, not only on TV, newspapers,
Well,
internet.
it's,
We're
it's
always
the enemy. The enemy's not gonna just take it easy on us.
Of
Like,
course
hey,
not.
Hey, here you go.
Exactly.
Here you go. Let's build up. Let's build you up right here, guys, so you can come and you can be a worthy foe and you can take back everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
You can have it right there. Oh my God, they're coming. Oh, don't kill us yet. Give us a time. Da 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 da. No, it doesn't
no,
work
it,
like
it don't it don't work like that. The way it works for them is called fascism.
that. Yes.
A system of government characterized by rigid one-party dictatorship,
Indeed.
forcible suppression of opposition, private economic enterprise under centralized governmental control, belligerent nationalism, racism, militarism, and etc. All that what I just said right there. Oh, and end quote. All that what I just said right there is the full definition of fascism in the Webster's New World College
Yeah.
Dictionary,
This
word
place,
for word.
this place right
Now,
here.
exactly, this place is
Yeah,
definitely
definitely.
fascist.
Like, I think the people know that they really don't have any power. So that's why most time they will just go and just say a bag of fuckery. And it's just in their fucking DNA, they can call it. It's in them. It's not just in their DNA. It's fucking in them. They have nothing else to do. They're basically weak pawns being used. And you can see why enough of these fuckers want to kill innocent people and not try to defend
Who
themselves.
are these people? Who are these people
All
you're
right. So
speaking of?
right now, these people are the fascists, the enemy. They are, you would call them. So they're basically they're located everywhere. What it has to do with politics, economy, any fucking thing. We have to deal with the growth of a nation and its people. They control that. They dominate that. This was instilled in what, Rome? Like it has to do
Oh,
with
what, fascism? I
fascism
mean, I would say that it probably started in Rome
in
since it's not
Rome.
only a Latin word, but
Yes.
the sign for the fascists, which is a fasces,
Yeah.
you could look that up on the internet. FASCES. The fasces
Is
is a
a
sign that was from the Roman
ox.
Empire. It's
Yeah.
a bunch of sticks that are tied
Rapping
together
ox. Yeah.
from the
Uh,
bottom to the top,
isn't it
and
over
it
in
has an
the
axe. It
congressional
has
thing in the building?
exactly it has an axe on the side of it
Yeah.
that's also attached to it. That's wrapped around it.
Yeah.
And what the fascists mean, it means it's a sign that shows that they're in control. They put
Yes.
everything together, and they have their own system, and they're willing to dominate other nations. And
Definitely.
if your nation is not controlled by the fascists or the Vatican, that means that you are a pagas, what they
Hmm.
called a country.
Yeah.
The word country in Latin originally meant pagas, and from the word pagas, we get the word pagan.
Which is they call
So
us vegans.
exactly, and a pagan to them is a person that is in ancient times is originally a person that is not controlled by Rome.
Yes.
That's the pagan. It comes from the word pagas, and because certain people weren't controlled by Rome, they would call them it was based off region, not necessarily only race. It was a region, and these people were the Ethiopians, and people that lived in Asia. To
Right.
all the Romans, we were called the pagan, right? Now, that's what they called us, but their system was called fascist. And the fascists, they were going around trying to take both empires of Ethiopia, which is Africa, and Asia. And one empire they weren't able to take because there was one queen who I should have mentioned on the list.
Right.
Might as well take it to 12. That's number 12.
Which is
Queen Kendake. Queen Candace, she got to fight. She's one of the leaders that always got to fight from
naturally,
from
but
the enemy.
strong black queen right there, so right, that melanated
Hmm.
sister with us do her thing. You have to give her great respect,
Of course.
praises to her because she did her thing. She defended her borders and her people. And
Well,
this is where
well,
we need to understand that the black woman, all sisters are strong. They're
well.
beautiful,
The wonderful thing that is said about Queen Kendake is that she didn't really have to fight.
right?
That's the dopest thing about it.
And she used her words.
No, not even words for it. It's
Oh,
just the way she looked.
no, you have to say they were stunned by the beauty.
Beauty.
The
They were
beauty
terrified of beauty and the
and
terror of the swords and everything. Cause
kill them softly.
when they no they even yes yeah, so they were standing from the mountain from I was reading one time
Yeah.
in the area of Kush. Today they call it Nubia. Or at that time they were calling it Nubia because the Latin Caucasians they
They
gave the
changed
name of Kush a time called Nubia. And when they called it Nubia, that's where we get the term Nubian queen and all that.
Yeah.
You know.
Because they say that it derived from Nubia first, and it was a close relation. So that's why they would say that Nubia was first. It was Nubia, then
Well, it's
Ethiopia.
the same place, but it has
It's the
different
same
names
thing.
depending on who's writing the book
Yeah.
and who's translating it. But what I was saying before is that when the Caucasians, the Roman Empire, when they came right there in Kush, it said that they were on top of a mountain, or I don't know if it was there on a mountain or maybe Queen Kendake was, but I know there's not too many mountains up there anyway because it's low level
Yeah.
compared to Ethiopia.
Yeah. So.
So Queen Kendake was sitting on an elephant, and all the soldiers they were out there just ready for fire.
I mean,
They know this is the mystical land that was never taken, so
of
they're like,
course, you gotta fucking defend the motherland. You gotta get ready. You gotta get up.
well,
You have to fight.
exactly.
Yeah.
So not only were they defending, getting ready to defend, but it's the fact that it was never taken. So it fear trembled all up in their hearts and
It was the
of the
drool,
Rome
the
because they
untouched
were
drool.
yeah, because it was
Yes,
never taken.
it
So
was
they must think
never
this is the place that was never. And they saw this.
the
They heard about it,
Greeks.
and now they saw that the Ethiopians were never taken, and this is why. And they see what she's sitting on. She's sitting on an elephant, and who's their leader? So African woman,
Yeah,
you know, who's also the royalty. She's ready to
right,
fight.
right.
So they come in, they're gonna get trampled by that elephant.
Right.
And there's probably more elephants, but that's just she's sitting on one. That's the tank, you know.
Mention
So
that. Don't forget that Turkey also tried to attack them and them thing. You know the Arabs.
Turkey tried to attack what the Arabs.
No, the Ethiopia. This is
I mean, every at one time, almost everybody did. You know.
don't forget that. Is this? They're just all against us, no matter how you put it.
Well, that's because it's called
But
selfishness.
yeah, it's selfishness, but them just make it a part of the daily routine. Hi, I just get up, me get a drink of orange juice, and don't forget my selfishness.
Yeah, man. So going, you know.
Yeah,
And then there's that's Queen Kendake. But we see that was about 200 or 300 years before Christ.
yeah,
She got a fight, but she didn't even have to fight.
she was that good.
And then you have who else is there? Hmm. In ancient times, I'm trying to think of somebody. I know there was Queen Nandi from not Nandi. Excuse me. Did I say Nandi? I meant Nzinga. Nandi, I think is Shaka Zulu's mom, but she can go on the list too. But I was really referring to Queen Nzinga. Queen Nzinga is very important. She fought against she not fought. She defended Africa against the Portuguese, against terrorists. And
Yeah.
they were from the Portuguese were coming in and Dutch. They
Yeah.
were coming into the area of Angola. All
Fucking
that Angola and Congo, all that was one time. But you know, when the Germans and the British,
the Americans as
French,
well.
Italians, everybody came into Africa at the Berlin after the Berlin Conference and started taking their parts. And
Everywhere.
the Portuguese wanted that area, and the Dutch, all of them wanted all these areas, and so there's a lot of gun running and
That's
secret guns coming in,
and
and
them taking the mineral and all of the natural resources
exactly.
as well. That's why you think Europe is so well
Mm-hmm.
funded. They have this money, and even
And
now they're still collecting billions, trillions, and top of trillions every fucking year. And that's how they do this. They suck everywhere dry, and they're not gonna leave Africa alone. You don't leave the great place like that's where life began.
that's
And
true.
even so, that's where it's still began. So you will see how even many of them are even leaving those areas in Europe and going into Africa. You don't see in Zimbabwe places like Tanzania, like places with them soon to effect like South Africa as well. Like I thought there was a civil war broke out down there or something, but the people them rise up. What if shit about? What if things?
Yeah,
Here in
man.
America, people just oblivious to the fucking truth. And the matter is just that they want to remain that way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but what it is,
It's what it is for you,
you know?
And Queen Nzinga from Angola, she was defending the empire,
Yes.
the royalty of that area by making sure that Portuguese and all those Caucasians from those areas wasn't able to take over the land. So she defended.
Yeah.
It's said by bow and arrow, by using a bow and arrow. So
Great symbol. Great symbol.
more a symbol, more a weapon.
Weapon, right? Of course. Man.
And she
What
also
do you
had
say
good
there?
diplomatic reasoning.
Right.
So
That's
she got
the
a
thing.
fight from Caucasians, and and
But she still stands strong.
of course, yeah, and
But
she
never
won.
backed down. She never did.
Well, actually, let me correct myself. I was reading somewhere that even though she gave a good fight, that there was a compromise that had to be signed or written or agreed. So I don't want to say anything that's incorrect.
They always trying
So-
to come with their little dealings under
Well, sometimes, brethren,
Bench
sometimes
and
you don't know everything that happened back then because sometimes dealings had to go on because you realize that, look, I don't want the last 300 people in my whole tribe to be killed. I mean, imagine if your whole family goes from like 3,000 to 300. That's one particular tribe. I'm just giving that random number.
Yeah,
This is not
they
real.
just snuff
So
them
what,
out.
what if your family goes from 3,000 to 300
yeah.
and they start threatening,
Naturally, that's what they
you know? Threatening to kill the last right now if they don't sign the document. So they sign the document, and next thing you know, the country or that land is now belong to the colonizers, or what I would rather say is the fascists. So
Still the
that
colonizers.
exactly, and the Mama Nzinga, we have Queen Kendake. Who else is there? We know that Malcolm X. We already know the fight he got.
Yeah, you gotta
Such a fight
fight from,
from even with his in his own.
yes,
You
his
know.
own people. All our leaders are dead because of us. We choose not to act. We let them die, and then we come and complain. Oh, what happened? What happened, great leader? We failed you. We failed you. Yes, we have. We have failed the ancestors because most of our generation have refused to make that sacrifice.
Well, we gotta be careful when we say we and them and that, cause
Indeed,
I'll
you
tell you
cannot
one
mix
thing.
them. You cannot mix them.
Me, I'm definitely not a part of we. I definitely don't. So, in here and maybe in this car or whatever, we don't feel the ancestors.
Yes.
We don't feel the upper energies and the ethers and
Well,
everything.
we have to,
But
you
but
know,
it's the people
redeem
who
ourselves.
don't know are feeling the ancestors because they choose not to know. And then you have number two, people who do know but that want to go back into the system. You know, like those kind of ciphers. Remember in the movie Matrix,
Yeah,
they're
that was
awakened but they want to go back in.
definitely.
So,
That
but
was
number three is
a little scene
it's
right there.
yeah, and what was I saying? Sorry, the number three thing will be the lost my train of thought when you said that. Sorry.
No man,
When you I was saying about I was
the
making a reference
Matrix.
of Matrix
Yeah, exactly.
only because of people going back in the system.
Well,
But
of
see,
course, they can't run away from it.
some people learn and want to go back. But the first is really the unlearned.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, that's what I was saying. The unlearned are failing the ancestors because they don't know. Number two is people that are failing the ancestors because
and do know.
they do know and they want to go back.
Yes.
Number three will be people like us.
Yeah.
You know, not only
We
make
need
it
to
seem like us
rise
is
up.
better, but
Yes.
it no, it's not, it was of course rise up, but I'm saying
Teach.
is the ancestors are not being put down because of us. They're not let down.
Hmm.
So a lot of people don't realize that. Why is it important? Who cares about ancestors? They're not around here. It's like,
Well,
but of course, I mean, people give thanks to Jesus Christ and Allah and all this.
whatever thing they
You
want to
know that
place.
people are entitled to give thanks, but to somebody, Jesus Christ is an ancestor, but they're not going to take it as that word. They're going to say, "Oh, he's my Lord and Savior," and just
Why?
like, you know,
I may
and
never
then
see God save nobody.
and but uh, some people have different ancestors, but what we're focusing on is making sure that the ancestors are aware of what we're doing.
Indeed.
You know, so a lot of our ancestors received a lot of fights. So we can't. The focus is not to make sure that we can't let Malcolm X and his Imperial Majesty
We
and
learn
Menelik
from
down.
them and we also
So
adapt and we make it better.
yeah, we adapt. We have to be careful of that too, because I
Yes,
not
indeed.
especially in Rastafari, I'm
Yeah.
do my best, and that there's no adapting.
Yes.
They
You
have
have
to
to.
adapt. They are trying to alter I and I.
Yes, that's what.
You know what I'm saying? No, because
You
they have to
utilize that
adapt.
knowledge.
They have to adapt and they have to alter and correct their ways.
They don't
You
have
see what
that
I'm
way.
saying? So our ancestors are the focus when it comes to moving forward and seeing the past. The next generation is also the focus for making sure that the future knows the past.
And
So
that's the
we
next thing right there. Is the future aware of their past? The now?
well well I'm not sure. That's why we're doing this. We're
Hmm.
giving them the culture.
Well, I hope
And
they really take heed to this. That their culture is broad. It's everywhere. It's included in the soap you use and the water you might be drinking. You know, it's the words you pronounce. Think of it. It's
that's right.
around you.
Hmm.
You know, it's in the,
Yeah, so we're bringing on the culture back to the youth to make sure that the youth know the culture. And the topic of this is the fight that our elders received. You know, I briefly mentioned in the middle of this of let's see, Queen Nzinga, Queen Kendake. We touched on Malcolm X.
yes.
We didn't even finish that, but to make it brief, we already see the fight that he got because the second that he went to the second OAU meeting in Africa, he came back and he was starting to receive a persecution
No,
because
they never
he
really
no longer
mentioned that though. That's the
he
thing. A lot of so-called scholars never mentioned that he went there and he didn't receive anything.
well, I mean, some might mention that he went to Africa even the second time, but the
Yeah.
thing is, there's no strong reference that he went to the emperor organization called the OAU.
Yeah.
Some say he may have met with His Imperial Majesty, but it's definite fact in some document that I read before, that an article, not a document, but an article, a newspaper article, that when Malcolm X went to Africa, his second trip, he he came back and he said, "Look, it's time to focus on black people." So he no longer dealt with the Nation of Islam. He started with focus on black people, and doesn't matter what political group you are, doesn't
Doesn't.
matter which religion you are, as long
Yes.
as you're black, I'm going to make sure that we have
Melanated.
proper economics and
Everything.
proper black politics. That's what he focused on.
Yes. Yes.
But a couple months later, he was assassinated.
Of course,
So
because
it looks like it was black people that did it, but I will
nah,
blame
it's
the enemy.
not.
I'll blame the fascists for
Yeah, it
being in a
wasn't meant
position
to
of
be like
making
that.
everything about money and power and
Money.
greed.
Yeah. They always try to come at you with that, the greeds, the money, and all of the jewelry. And most of the people are turned because they get like, they brought them some woman, they got this, the cock suck, and next thing they're turning, and all of this money and wealth. Like these things, these little vague things that used to manipulate you. Is it worth it? Because in the end, as you know, a rat never lived too long. Okay? And that's how it is. Even the enemy, when they will get someone to switch sides and they will say, okay, you can have this. What happened to them? You never heard of them again. Probably for a good like a year or two and then they just drop out. Nothing, no one knows what happened. And that's what it is.
Yes, sir.
They use you. And that's what it is. They pimping you out.
That's right.
It's just like
So,
I'm not going to get into it now. We'll leave that for the other video, or so the other segment that we're going to come up with. Like it's going to be something so grand.
oh
You're
yes,
gonna like
definitely.
it.
So yeah, we're gonna kick this off, and I guess the last person we'll talk about this time will be His Imperial Majesty. We already know what he got through,
Definitely.
with the Derg, the
The
rebellion
greatest
that they say
leader
asked for Wilson,
in mankind.
and then also the rebellion that asked for Wilson put on the emperor that they say who's the emperor's son, and also the rebellion that happened with the Derg, and then there's the things that happened with Lejasu. That's 3 4. The Jazmach Balcha even tried to take over, but wasn't successful due to the emperor having strong diplomatic,
Ties.
well, not just ties, but yeah, well, I would say financial ties, because he bought the whole man's army off.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's yeah, I guess four. Keep it to two queens and two kings this time.
Right.
You know.
Give praises to the queens.
Yes, I speak to the like Queen Latifah said, ladies first. So we did
As
we did
always.
Queen
Always to the
Kindak,
queens.
Queen Kendake and Queen Nzinga,
Yes.
and we spoke about Malcolm X and His Imperial Majesty very briefly. So these are some leaders that got to fight, you know,
They all
and explaining how that fight went on. Doesn't matter if it's from our own people, but sometimes it even happens from Caucasians, you know. So, but yeah, we'll sign out.
beautiful.
Gotta go make these moves right now for these little people.
Guidance to the
Rastafari.
eyes.
Aye. And His Imperial Majesty, Kidamawi Selassie, King of Kings of Ethiopia, Lion of Judah, Elect of God, Light of the World, Rastafari.
Ja. Life.
Balance with Empress Menen.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Liberty. You don't know enough. New life.